Everybody, what's up? Sherri here with two very important co-conspirators in creation with me. I wanted you to meet my parrots. This little fella here, this is Zacchaeus. He's a sun conure. And this is Miss Bubbles. She is a monk's parakeet, also known as a Quaker parrot. Little fun fact for those of you who didn't know, these birds are illegal in 13 states. How could they? But they are legal in South Carolina where we live, so I just can't figure out why this little spunky monkey would be illegal anywhere. That's right, I know. But today's author spotlight, courtesy of the London Book and Wine Club, is again on one of my books, and this time we are doing Singularity. Oh, I am so excited for you to read this book. And I welcome any of you who aren't part of the book club, of course, to get it. I will put the link in the comments below so you can get it if you like. Give it as a Christmas gift, friends and family, or to yourself. Come on, you got to give yourself a gift. I'm really excited about this book, as I said. We had a great time writing it, didn't we, guys? Singularity was, I will tell you, I've been wanting to write this book since I started writing. I was really, truly inspired way back when I was in high school in the early 90s. I read Stephen King's The Stand, and I was so fascinated with the concept of a world-ending plague taking out the population, and what do the survivors do? Well, as luck would have it, real life told me. We had the COVID pandemic 5 years ago, and reality wasn't exactly what fiction told us. But no matter, it's okay. We're here 5 years later. We have survived, and like many other writers, I jumped on the bandwagon of imagining the next pandemic and what would happen. Now, those of you who read Domino and the Sentient series, and I heard your feedback. I am so glad that it inspired you. I'm sorry I got your tail there, buddy. I'm so sorry. Back to the point. Those of you who read Domino and the Sentient series told me that you were really impressed with the deep issues of life and death, with the permanence of the soul, and what lengths we would go basically to survive. Well, Singularity takes a different take on it. It's still AI, but in this, we're going to look at how AI helps us live instead of cheat death. Interesting concept. Now, let me put these guys on their place stand. Now, getting back to Singularity, I want to tell you that the way that this really differs is that we're coming at it with more characters, with kind of a broken community. And to start out with, I'm going to just flat out tell you, every character in this book has post-traumatic stress. A pandemic has taken out 2/3 of the population. They've kind of wandered around and come back together into what we call convergence communities, which are communities of survivors that are just trying to rebuild society and figure out where to go from here. How do we rebuild the world? How do we rebuild life? Remember the COVID pandemic when we talked about new normals, work from home, all of that? You've kind of seen how that's played out. Well, we're projecting forward. And one thing that really struck me during the COVID pandemic was how, as we got through it, as the threat passed, the vaccines came out, it wasn't quite as deadly as it had been. All that talk about a new normal gave way to fights to go back to the same old, same old. And really, it surprised me a little bit, because I thought, here we had the chance to wipe the slate clean, and we fought to just go back to what we had, tooth and nail. Think the backlash now against a lot of the stuff that we were praising 5 years ago. More work-life balance, and who needs to be in the office saving money on rent. Now we need to collaborate, and we need to be there, and we need to be face-to-face, and so much for work-life balance. Just, a lot of people were tired or dropped out of the workforce because of that. They did not want to go back, and they didn't have to, so they didn't. And it was really a lot of how the COVID pandemic affected us and how basically we fought any kind of change or growth from it. It disappointed me a little bit, but it shouldn't have, because when I really sat and thought about it, I thought about how we really do fear change. We do fear change, and we also fear more than change, just discomfort, just not knowing, not having control over life. Now, here's the trick, and here's where I bring in AI, is in Singularity. The premise of that novel is before their pandemic, they had artificial intelligence that basically was integrating into the human brain, into systems. It was starting to link anything. They were on their way to achieving singularity. And now they're tired. They don't want to fight to live anymore. They want to embrace life, not try to survive. So they decide, we have the resources now, 5 years later, we have built up enough that we can turn this technology back on. It'll help us rebuild. It'll make it faster. It's a shortcut. It's going to get us where we want to be a lot faster. And let's just do it. Flip the switch. Let's turn it back on and let's try again. Only they realized that maybe their invention might not have been what they thought that it was. And in fact, the tagline for Singularity is, will AI help humanity evolve or finish what it started? What did it start? Well, you'll have to read the book to find out. Now, one premise that I really want you to think about as you read this book is this concept that humanity is the pinnacle of creation or evolution. Whatever your belief system is, humanity is considered the peak, the top. We are at the top of the chain. We are supposed to have dominion over this world and everything in it. However, there's a paradox, because the nature of the universe is chaos. The nature of the universe is change. It's expansion. Things are ever expanding. They're chaotic. What worked stops working. What didn't work starts working. Things just reorder and reorganize, and the truth of the matter is we're the pinnacle of creation, and we think we ought to be able to control it, but yet we can't. And now we have got this invention that we have created. We started with industrialization, and we've built up to now AI, computer systems, all of our technology that makes life so much easier. We created it as an aid to make life easier, and it does. And we really depend on it to get through day-to-day life. Now, whether you want to admit it or not, we are 25 years into a new century, and it's part of everyday life. It is part of our everyday life. There are generations behind mine have never known life without it. My generation is the last generation to remember what life was like before technology, when phones were on walls, when you had cable boxes with buttons you had to punch, and if you didn't see that TV show when it aired, you just missed it forever. We are the last ones who will remember that. And I think the real question that Singularity poses is, in a world where people are fighting for survival and just trying to get back some semblance of control, how much are you willing to give up to do it? Now, when I say how much are you willing to give up to do it, what I mean is your autonomy. We, as the pinnacle of creation or evolution, depending on your belief system, we have this wonderful technology that we have invented. And I think that it goes hand in hand with that control issue. We're a little bit afraid now that this invention might outpace us. And it kind of is. I mean, in a way, it kind of is, because our technology is definitely evolving faster than we are. But think about it. On an evolutionary scale, of course, we have physical bodies and a very different environment. We have a natural world to deal with chaotic elements that we've had to learn to evolve with over eons. Our technology has pretty much taken off a lot. I mean, think of how long human history is before we could flip switches. And now, it's come so far in the last 30, 40, 50 years. Things have changed so much. It really is outpacing us. And I have read some articles that have said, yes, our technology is evolving faster than we are. We are actually trying to catch up with it. But think about this. Who created it? We did. And we are creating it and programming it in contained environments, the internet, the digital world. We're creating it in contained environments based on what we know from eons of experience. Now, I've done another video here on how much do you trust AI. I have thoughts on it. To keep this video within a reasonable time frame, I encourage you to check out that video. But as you read Singularity, I want you to think about the fact that biological life versus technological life and how we bridge the gap. Really it's about working hand in hand, but, we want control. We want it to help us have control. And yet we are a little bit afraid of losing that control. But here's the sticky bit. We don't really have it. We don't really have it. So, then what? So I hope that you enjoy Singularity. I am really excited about you reading this book. I hope that you enjoy it. Please let me know what you think. And of course, take the discussions beyond this. These are the issues that I thought of. Of course, as I always say, once I hit the publish button, it's your book now. You take from it what you feel and let me know. Thank you so much for reading Singularity. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you around.